Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, staying clean. Today's Monday, Memorial Day. I hope you're having a great holiday. I hope you have some plans with family members, friends, and loved ones. I hope you're enjoying yourself and appreciating the life that you have. For me, I don't celebrate holidays. I celebrate the enjoyment of living life on life's terms. When there's a holiday, I take that time to address the company and the beautiful life that I have with my loving wife. That we may TV binge, we may do something, but whatever we do, we're doing it together. And I appreciate the blessings that our relationship and recovery has given us. But how I got to this started back from childhood stress, childhood trauma. When I was young, I experienced stress, I experienced trauma, and I was not ready to deal with these type of feelings and emotions because my brain was not fully developed, which caused me to have issues with my health, my mental status, my emotional status, my status on defend or run. And at the age that I am, 66, I realized that my childhood life affected my growth and mental development. I found out that the stress that I experienced when I was a child affected my growth because I handle it the same way I did when I was a child until I learned about myself. So what I realized is that the lifestyle and the life that I lived when I was a child and the things that happened to me affected my body, my mental and my physical. And now they're doing research and they're finding out that these things do have a connection with the well-working of the body. How it can be a hindrance because of our childhood development. When we experience this type of trauma when we're a child, it causes us to act a certain way, to defend ourselves the best way we can. Because we're in a situation that we feel helpless. We don't know really what to do. We're a child. So the information that we have, the information that we search for, we use this for the benefit of ourselves. And since our minds are not developed, we may be getting the wrong information. Development of a child is very important. It takes two parents to bring up a sound child to be strong and to deal with the stresses of life and the situations of life, to be resilient, to stand tall. But when a child is dealing with loss at a young age and a lack of love and commitment, then they're left to their environment and the information that they seem fit that will help them in their situation, but their minds are not fully developed. So I understood that my childhood development led me direct to addiction, connect me straight to addiction. Which gave me addictive behavior. And it took me 40 years of active addiction to stop, to learn about Robert. Truly understand who he is, what he experienced in his childhood to cause him the lack of development that he needs to be the best that he can be. I realized that for a child to grow in sound mind and body, he needs the development of both parents, not just one. One parent should not be holding grudge against the other parent and using the child as leverage, because who loses out? The child. You cause that child to have issues mentally and emotionally. The sad thing is that we don't allow the child to get the true, undoctored facts about the situation. We give them a synopsis of what we want them to know. We point the finger at the other parent, pointing at the bad things that that parent may have done, or you feel that they will do. Who does that hurt? In your eyes, you say, well, I'm letting them know just how their father was or how their mother was. But you're not being honest about the true, unadulterated facts. You're putting your spin on it because they hurt you. They used you. You feel that pain. And the only way that you can hurt them back is to disconnect them from their children. Or you feel that they shouldn't have the right to deal with their children because they didn't care about their children. When I learned information about my father at an adult age, I get to understand who he was. But when I was a child, I felt he abandoned me. I felt that he hated me. I felt that I was a disgrace to him because I existed. Yes, my mother didn't downgrade my father, never said nothing bad about him. But there was never a conversation about him. So I had to draw my own conclusion, which was totally negative and became my fault in my eyes. How many children feel like that? Or is there so much conflict between the parents that the child has a flight and runs away? Or a child feels that they have to take sides and they don't want to take sides because they love their mother and their father. But they're put in a position to make a choice. So the inner workings gets derailed because a child comes from two parents, not one. My trauma from my past led me to my addiction. Me not knowing the things I needed to know caused me to draw my own conclusion was totally far beyond the truth. But the famous words is, they're too young, they don't need to know. That would stunt their growth. But they're not realizing that a child will make his own narrative of the situation and believe their own thoughts because we're not giving them the proper answers that they need. Another thing, how can we be positive with our child about the other parent when the other parent is not paying attention to the child? A situation happened about 10 years ago. And a person that was in recovery came into recovery. They had time in recovery. And they asked me, they said, Robert, what can I do to ensure the safety of my child? And for a day or two, I was stunned by that question. My curiosity went out the roof. So I started to do research on that issue. And surprisingly, something happened. I came up with an idea that telling the truth about the situation is the best way to handle the situation. I look back at my situation and said, if I was told the truth, the unadulterated truth about the situation, that my thinking would have been different. That my thought process would have been different. Even though that I was a child. I may not have understood, but in time I would. So I explained to the gentleman about how I felt and what I thought about the situation. He decided to take it a step further. He said that he's going to be honest and open with his child. And he's going to see where that goes. So from then on, he was honest and open with his child. And at the end of being honest, he asked him, how did you feel about that? What's your feeling on that? And they had a conversation. He said that his child started to have more respect for him. He said that his child would tell him everything about his life. And anything that he had a question, he was willing to go to him and ask him about it because he felt safe, he felt trusted, and he believed that his father was going to tell him the truth. His child became a person that works in mental health with a thriving purpose, a thriving practice, and is helping a lot of people come to grips with their progressive illness. I still look back at myself and the trauma and the pain that I've experienced in my past, and I realized if the truth was told to me, the honest truth, that my life would have been better. I may not have liked what I heard, but in time, I would realize the truth. Remember, I'm a child, my mind is still developing. But as my mind is developing, I'm still learning. I'm learning that I can have an uncomfortable conversation with my parent. I realize that I can be honest and open with my parent. I can sit down and express the pain and hurt that I may be experiencing about a situation, not to be judged, but to find my way out of the situation. I found out that my connection would be better with my parent. I found out that I would be able to trust my parent to tell me the truth. Because no matter how painful it is, my parent tells me the truth. Outside people cannot divert me and break the relationship that I have with my parent because my parent tells me the truth. My parent doesn't sling mud about the other one. But he tells the truth. My parent lets me know that we're all imperfect people. We make mistakes, some bigger than others, but we're not perfect. The mistake is not important, it's what we do after the mistake. That's what's important. Doing the next right thing. So today, on Memorial Day, where the world is celebrating the veterans, those who died for the country in battle, how America's honoring them. I step aside from that honor, and my day of a holiday, I devote that to the betterment and connection of what's important to me, family. I don't understand all the particulars why a war of killing people, the agenda of one person dominating their agenda on another human being and their lifestyle. That your way is right, that my way is right, when we're all faulty people. Where greed comes into play, where power comes into play, control comes into play. So when there's a holiday, I believe it's time to grow closer to the ones we love and the ones we care about. Because we're only here for a short time. We're not here for a long time. It may feel like a long time. It may feel like you have a long time to get things done, that you can get everything done, but we don't know when our life will end. We don't know whether it might be tragic or might be a medical issue. We don't know. But what we do know is we have today. So what we put off for tomorrow, we need to do today. My pain, my trauma, and being left to find my way caused me to constantly fight to move forward, to make each day better than yesterday. That I could not depend on others, because when I did, I would constantly lose out. So only my survival mode was me, my choices, my direction, my way. And it served me that way for a lot of years. But it also served me right down the hole into addiction, destroying everything that I built, causing me to look at life and my choices completely different the way I did from the past. That's why I say it's very important for a recovering addict to know who he is, why he is, the way he is, and the choices that he makes. What got him to active addiction, why he picked up in the first place, and why he medicated himself so he would not feel the pain. And from medicating himself, the body enjoyed the drug that he put into his system, which told his brain to give him more and more and more, until all that matters was more. We can look at our past and look at our past mistakes, and we can hold ourselves accountable, feel guilty, cause ourselves to hurt ourselves, to make ourselves feel like we're failures. We can be ashamed of our past, that we try to hide it, lie, connive, so people don't see the injured person that we was in the past. Or we can learn from it accept it, that it's a part of us. My failures became my greatest strengths to overcome. It gave me the insight to keep moving forward, to not whine in self-pity, not cry over the past, but to move forward and make me a better person, to understand who Robert is, to understand his past, to be better than his past, and not letting our failures live rent-free in our head over and over again. We've overcame so much. We truly have to understand that we came from active addiction to recovery. We're repairing ourselves by sound information, by looking at ourselves honestly and openly. That stop pointing the finger at other people's mistakes, but keeping the focus on ourselves to make ourselves better and to change our behavior. I'm not qualified to change your behavior, but I'm qualified to change my behavior. And if I change my behavior, I benefit. I grow. I become better. But if I'm trying to change your behavior, I'm taking the focus off myself and I'm not getting better. What it is, I'm staying stuck right where I am. I stopped learning and I stopped growing. I've suffered a lot in my lifetime, and I choose not to suffer anymore. And the way I do not suffer anymore is I work on Robert. My responsibility is to make me better. My responsibility is not to make you better. That's your job. But I'm here to show you what works for Robert. I'm here to tell you that you have to find your way in recovery. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. There are thousands of people that do it each and every day. There are thousands that die sober because they live life on life's terms. And no matter what, they do not pick up and use. The last point I would like to make is that don't beat yourself up for the mistakes that you've made. Treat them as learning experience to make yourself better. Because we all make mistakes. We're all imperfect people. And if we hold on to the mistakes that we make, we'll never get better. We'll always live in that pain, that remorse, and our hatred for ourselves in the situation will grow, which will cause us to slowly go down the rabbit hole back to addiction. I hope what I share with you today lets you look at yourself as a hero, someone who faced their fears, their trauma, their stress when they was a child, ended up in addiction, learned about their addiction, learned to do the next right thing, built a life in recovery, and found out what works for you. That's giving you peace and happiness far beyond your dreams. Remember, we all make mistakes. It's not the mistake that's important, but what we do after it. Y'all have a great and wonderful day.